Owning a food truck is one of the most romanticized businesses in America. Instagram shows smiling chefs serving gourmet tacos from a colorful truck parked beside a beach. TikTok creators boast about making thousands of dollars in a single weekend. Television competitions turn mobile kitchens into symbols of entrepreneurial freedom. The promise seems irresistible. Skip the million-dollar restaurant, buy a truck for a fraction of the cost, cook great food, and drive wherever the customers are. It sounds like the perfect small business. No expensive dining room, no massive building. No commercial rent in downtown locations. Just four wheels, a kitchen, and a line of hungry customers. But that image leaves out almost everything that actually determines whether a food truck survives. The truck breaks down. The generator fails halfway through lunch service. A health inspector arrives unexpectedly. The fryer stops working during your busiest festival of the year. Rain wipes out an entire weekend of sales. A permit expires. Gas prices jump. Food costs increase. And suddenly the business that looked incredibly profitable on social media is struggling just to cover payroll. The truth is that a food truck isn't simply a restaurant on wheels. It's a restaurant, a logistics company, a transportation business, a catering operation, and a mechanical maintenance company, all rolled into one. Unlike a traditional restaurant, a food truck doesn't just have to produce great food. It has to move every day. It has to survive weather. It has to compete for parking. It has to constantly relocate customers instead of waiting for customers to find it. That's why food trucks represent one of the most misunderstood business models in the hospitality industry. Expenses accumulate every single day whether customers show up or not, while revenue depends on unpredictable variables that the owner often cannot control. Today, we're breaking down the real economics of owning a food truck, from startup costs and daily expenses to profit margins, hidden risks, and the surprising strategy that separates operators who barely survive from those who quietly build long-term wealth. Most people think every food truck operates the same way. They don't. There are several completely different business models. The first is the neighborhood lunch truck. These trucks park near office buildings, factories, hospitals, or universities and rely on repeat weekday customers. Revenue is relatively predictable, but competition is intense, and average ticket sizes tend to be smaller. The second model is the event truck. These operators focus almost entirely on festivals, concerts, sporting events, county fairs, and private celebrations. A single weekend can generate more revenue than an entire week of street vending. But when events disappear, income disappears too. The third model is catering, corporate lunches, weddings, birthday parties, movie productions. Private events often guarantee revenue before the truck even starts the engine. Margins are generally much higher, but customer acquisition requires strong networking and marketing. Then there's the premium gourmet model. These trucks sell high-end burgers, lobster rolls, barbecue, artisan coffee, or specialty desserts. Customers expect restaurant-quality food while paying premium prices. Finally, there are fleet operators. Instead of owning one truck, they own 5, 10, or even 20. At this point, the business starts looking less like a restaurant and more like a transportation company with kitchens attached. For this documentary, we'll focus on the most common operator, the independent owner with a single full-time food truck. Because financially, this is where the numbers become the most interesting and the most unforgiving. The biggest misconception about food trucks is that they're cheap. Compared to opening a traditional restaurant, yes. Compared to almost every other small business, not really. Let's start with the truck itself. A used, fully equipped food truck typically costs between $60,000 and $100,000. A brand new custom-built truck can easily exceed $180,000, depending on size and kitchen equipment. Some luxury builds push beyond $250,000 before serving a single customer. But buying the truck is only the beginning. Most cities require commercial permits, food handling certifications, fire inspections, business licenses, and health department approvals. Depending on the city, these costs range anywhere from $3,000 to over $20,000. Then comes insurance, commercial vehicle insurance, general liability insurance, workers' compensation, equipment coverage. Annual premiums can easily total $6,000 to $15,000. Many cities also require operators to rent space inside a licensed commissary kitchen. This isn't optional. It's where food is stored, trucks are cleaned, wastewater is disposed of, and inspections often take place. Monthly commissary fees typically range between $800 and $2,500. Then there's branding. Vehicle wraps, menus, point-of-sale systems, online ordering software, website development, photography, marketing, inventory, opening supplies, initial food purchases, disposable packaging, uniforms, cleaning chemicals, small tools. Emergency repair funds. Collectively, these small expenses often add another $20,000 to $40,000 before opening day. Now add everything together: truck purchase, permits, insurance, commissary, equipment, inventory, marketing, working capital. A realistic startup budget for a professionally operated food truck lands somewhere between $120,000 and $220,000. And that's before the business earns its very first dollar. The romantic image is someone selling tacos out of a colorful truck. The financial reality is investing well into six figures before serving your first customer. Buying the truck is the easy part. Keeping it operational is where the real business begins. A food truck isn't just a vehicle. It's a commercial kitchen bouncing down highways, sitting in traffic, vibrating over potholes, and operating in extreme heat and cold. Every mile driven puts stress on two expensive systems at once: the truck itself and everything bolted inside it. Unlike a restaurant, where the kitchen stays in one place for decades, every piece of equipment inside a food truck is constantly moving. That movement is expensive. A commercial flat-top grill can cost anywhere from $2,000 to $6,000. A deep fryer ranges from $1,500 to $4,000. Commercial refrigerators and freezers often cost $3,000 to $8,000 each. Add steam tables, prep stations, sinks, ventilation systems, fire suppression equipment, and point-of-sale hardware, and it's easy to have $40,000 to $70,000 worth of equipment packed inside a single truck. None of it lasts forever. The biggest headache isn't usually replacing major equipment, it's unexpected downtime. Imagine arriving at a music festival with 10,000 people expected to attend. You turn on the generator, and it won't start. No electricity means no refrigeration. No refrigeration means unsafe food. No safe food means no sales. One mechanical failure can erase an entire day's revenue while you continue paying staff, permit fees, and event costs. The truck itself creates another layer of expenses. Oil changes happen more frequently because the vehicle carries heavy loads. Brakes wear out faster. Commercial tires often cost $300 to $500 each, and replacing an entire set can exceed $2,000. Transmission repairs can easily cost $5,000 to $8,000. A blown engine, that can exceed $15,000, and unlike many businesses, when the vehicle isn't running, the business doesn't exist. Most entrepreneurs focus on startup costs. Professional operators focus on depreciation. Every year, the truck loses value. Kitchen equipment ages. Technology becomes outdated. Vehicle mileage climbs. Even if nothing breaks, the asset itself becomes less valuable over time. Let's imagine a custom food truck purchased for $160,000. After 5 years of heavy commercial use, it might be worth only $90,000 to $100,000, depending on maintenance and market demand. That's a depreciation expense of roughly $12,000 to $14,000 per year. Many owners ignore this because depreciation isn't paid in cash every month. But economically, it's very real. Eventually, the truck must be replaced. And if the business hasn't generated enough cash to fund that replacement, the owner starts over with another loan. That's one reason many food truck businesses never build lasting wealth. They're constantly replacing depreciating assets instead of accumulating appreciating ones. Now comes the part that surprises almost everyone. Most food truck owners don't fail because they can't cook. They fail because cash leaves the business faster than it comes in. Every morning begins with expenses. Before selling a single burger, before serving a single taco, money is already disappearing. Let's break down the 3 largest daily operating costs. Food is usually the largest variable expense. Suppose your average customer spends $18. Ingredients, including meat, vegetables, sauces, bread, packaging, and beverages, might cost around 30% of revenue. That means approximately $5. $40 disappears immediately. Food inflation makes this even worse. If beef prices increase by 20%, margins shrink overnight unless prices also rise. But raising prices carries its own risk. Customers may simply choose another truck. Many first-time owners expect to do everything themselves. Reality quickly changes that plan. Someone needs to cook. Someone takes orders. Someone prepares ingredients. Someone cleans. Even a relatively small operation often requires 2 to 4 employees. If wages average $20 per hour, including payroll taxes and benefits, staffing can easily exceed $700 per day during busy events. Whether sales are strong or weak, employees still expect to be paid. Traditional restaurants pay rent. Food trucks pay for movement, fuel for the truck, fuel for the generator, propane for cooking, parking fees, event fees, daily permits. Tolls, vehicle maintenance. Many operators spend $200 to $500 per day just keeping the truck moving and powered. When diesel prices spike, operating costs rise immediately. Unlike office businesses, food trucks cannot simply work from home. Mobility is their competitive advantage. It's also one of their biggest expenses. Now imagine a normal weekday. The truck serves 120 customers. The average ticket is $18. Daily revenue equals 120 times $18 equals $2,160. Sounds impressive, but now subtract expenses. Food costs, approximately $650. Labor, around $700. Fuel and generator costs, about $180. Commissary allocation, roughly $60. Insurance allocation, around $40. Credit card processing fees, nearly $65. Cleaning supplies, packaging, and miscellaneous expenses, approximately $120. That leaves around $345 before accounting for taxes, depreciation, equipment replacement, loan payments, and the owner's own salary. One slow day, one rainy afternoon, one canceled event, and that number disappears entirely. This is the hidden trap of the food truck business. Revenue looks exciting because customers pay throughout the day. But profit is much smaller than most people imagine. And cash flow, not accounting profit, is what determines whether the business survives another month. Many owners experience record-breaking weekends only to discover they still can't pay next month's insurance premium. Because revenue is temporary, expenses never stop. Unlike restaurants, food trucks cannot fully control their environment. Weather directly determines revenue. Heavy rain can reduce customer traffic by more than half. Extreme heat discourages outdoor events. Strong winds cancel festivals. Snow shuts down entire regions. Every canceled event represents lost revenue that can never be recovered. The payroll remains. Insurance continues. Loan payments still arrive. Fuel costs remain fixed. The calendar keeps moving whether customers show up or not. That's why experienced operators don't judge success by one busy weekend. They judge it by whether the business can survive several bad months in a row. Because eventually, every food truck faces one. If you've ever stood in line at a popular food truck, you've probably done the math in your head. 20 people waiting, each spending around $20. That truck must be making a fortune. But revenue and profit are two completely different things. A busy line doesn't necessarily mean a healthy business. In fact, many food trucks can generate over $500,000 in annual sales while leaving the owner with a surprisingly modest income. The reason lies in unit economics. Every transaction has to pay for ingredients, labor, fuel, payment processing fees, packaging, insurance, maintenance, permits, taxes, and equipment depreciation before a single dollar becomes profit. Let's look at a realistic example. Imagine a gourmet burger truck. The average customer spends $19, $50. On a strong weekday, the truck serves 150 customers. Daily revenue reaches 150 times $19. $50 equals $2,925. That sounds impressive. Multiply that by 25 operating days each month, and monthly revenue approaches $73,000. Annualized, that's nearly $875,000. From the outside, it looks like an incredible business. But here's what the numbers actually look like. Food and beverage costs consume roughly 30% of revenue. Labor takes another 25%. Operating expenses, including fuel, generator maintenance, propane, event fees, insurance, software subscriptions, commissary rent, and repairs, consume another 20%. Credit card processing removes about 3%. Marketing, Accounting, licensing renewals, uniforms, and miscellaneous costs absorb another 5%. Suddenly, nearly 83% of every dollar earned has already disappeared. And that's before taxes, debt payments, or replacing worn-out equipment. In reality, a truck generating $875,000 in annual sales might produce an operating profit between 8% and 12%, assuming everything goes according to plan. That leaves roughly $70,000 to $100,000 before income taxes and major capital expenditures. It's a respectable business, but it's far from the overnight millionaire story social media often suggests. Now imagine everything goes right. Customers love your food, reviews are excellent, your employees show up on time, you still aren't in complete control, because some of the biggest risks come from outside your business. Weather is the first. One rainy weekend can wipe out the revenue from a 3-day festival. Extreme heat keeps people indoors. Cold weather shortens outdoor dining seasons in many states. Then comes inflation. If beef prices rise by 25%, cooking oil increases by 40%, and disposable packaging becomes more expensive, your margins shrink immediately. Raising menu prices sounds simple. In reality, customers have limits. If your burger increases from $17 to $21, some customers simply walk to the next truck. Fuel prices create another challenge. Food trucks don't just buy gasoline. They consume diesel, propane, generator fuel, refrigeration power, and transportation costs embedded in every ingredient delivered by suppliers. Every increase compounds operating expenses. Then there are event organizers. Premium festivals often charge vendors $500, $1,000, or even several $1,000s just for the opportunity to park. If customer turnout disappoints, that fee is lost forever. And perhaps the greatest uncertainty is consumer demand. Food trends change quickly. One year, gourmet grilled cheese dominates social media. The next year, customers want Korean barbecue or smash burgers. A concept that filled lines 12 months ago may suddenly struggle to attract attention. In the food truck business, success depends on adapting faster than customer tastes change. Here's something surprising. Many of the most successful food truck owners make less than half their revenue from street sales. Street vending builds the brand, but it isn't always where the money is. Corporate catering is often far more profitable. Instead of hoping customers show up, companies pay fixed fees for employee lunches, product launches, or appreciation events. Revenue becomes predictable. Waste decreases because quantities are planned in advance. Private weddings offer another opportunity. One wedding might generate $4,000 to $8,000 in revenue during a single evening. Birthday parties, graduation celebrations, movie productions, sporting events, university functions. Each provides guaranteed income before the truck even starts moving. Some operators negotiate long-term contracts with breweries. Others park permanently at business parks during lunch hours. Instead of chasing customers every morning, they build recurring locations with reliable demand. The smartest owners also diversify beyond food. Branded sauces, frozen products, merchandise, cooking classes, online recipe subscriptions, social media sponsorships. Some even license their brand to grocery stores or open brick-and-mortar restaurants after proving demand through the truck. Ironically, for many entrepreneurs, the food truck isn't the destination. It's the cheapest form of market research. Rather than spending $1 million opening a restaurant, they spend a fraction of that testing recipes, neighborhoods, pricing, and customer preferences. The truck becomes a laboratory. Once demand is proven, expansion becomes far less risky. Here's where the financial philosophy changes completely. Most first-time entrepreneurs believe success means owning the busiest food truck in the city. Professional investors see things differently. They rarely become wealthy by maximizing the profits of a single operating business. Instead, they use businesses to acquire appreciating assets. A food truck itself is not an appreciating asset. Quite the opposite. Every mile reduces its value. Every year brings mechanical wear. Eventually, it must be replaced. The truck is a depreciating machine. Smart operators understand this. Instead of spending every dollar upgrading the truck, they redirect profits into appreciating investments. Commercial real estate, rental properties, additional businesses, stocks, warehouses. Some eventually purchase commissary kitchens and lease space to other food truck owners. Now they're earning rental income instead of simply paying rent. Others expand into multiple trucks managed by hired staff. At that point, they're no longer buying jobs for themselves. They're building systems that generate cash flow independent of their daily presence. The food truck becomes the first step, not the final destination. That's the same philosophy followed by many successful entrepreneurs. The operating business creates cash. The cash acquires appreciating assets, and over decades, those assets create real wealth. Because the goal isn't simply selling more tacos. The goal is owning assets that continue producing income long after the grill has cooled down. So, what does a successful food truck actually look like on paper? Let's imagine a realistic business. Not the viral truck with millions of TikTok followers. Not the celebrity chef with television sponsorships. Just a well-run, independently owned gourmet food truck operating in a major U.S. city. The owner purchased a custom-built truck for $165,000. After permits, insurance, commissary setup, branding, initial inventory, kitchen equipment, and working capital, the total startup investment reached approximately $220,000. The truck operates 5 days a week, serves a mix of lunch crowds, breweries, festivals, and private catering events, and averages about 160 customers per operating day. The average ticket size is $18.75. Over the course of the year, the business generates approximately $840,000 in total revenue. At first glance, that's an impressive number. But revenue tells only half the story. Food and beverage costs consume roughly $252,000. Payroll for 4 employees totals around $205,000. Fuel, propane, generator operation, and vehicle expenses add another $42,000. Insurance, commissary rent, software subscriptions, accounting, permits, maintenance, cleaning supplies, uniforms, marketing, and payment processing consume another $250,000. Before taxes and loan payments, the business has roughly $91,000 remaining. Now subtract equipment depreciation, income taxes, and debt servicing. The owner's actual annual take-home profit falls to approximately $55,000 to $65,000. For many people, that's a respectable income. But remember, the owner invested more than $220,000 and often works 60 to 80 hours every week. Financially, the return isn't extraordinary. In fact, if we compare the owner's after-tax earnings to the total capital invested, the annual cash return lands somewhere around 2%, especially during the early years when debt payments are highest. It's a successful business, but not the gold mine many people imagine. The following year begins with optimism. Bookings are strong. A busy festival season is scheduled. Corporate catering contracts are signed. Then everything changes. Spring brings weeks of heavy rain. Several outdoor festivals are canceled. A national beef shortage pushes meat prices up nearly 20%. Cooking oil becomes more expensive. Fuel prices increase again. The truck's transmission fails during peak season, requiring a repair bill of nearly $7,500. While the truck is in the repair shop, it misses 2 weeks of scheduled events. Those lost sales can never be recovered. By the end of the year, annual revenue has dropped from $840,000 to roughly $700,000. At the same time, operating expenses have actually increased. Food costs rise because ingredients are more expensive. Labor remains largely unchanged. Insurance premiums increase. Maintenance costs surge. Loan payments continue. Fixed expenses don't care that revenue declined. Instead of earning a healthy operating profit, the owner finishes the year with a loss of approximately $35,000. $2 profitable years can disappear because of one difficult season. That's the reality of the food truck business. The greatest threat isn't competition. It's volatility. The business operates with relatively thin margins, meaning unexpected costs have an outsized impact on profitability. That's why experienced operators obsess over cash reserves. They know survival isn't determined during good years. It's determined by whether the business can withstand the bad ones. Here's the lesson that separates entrepreneurs from investors. Most first-time owners dream about operating one incredibly successful food truck. The smartest operators dream about something else entirely. They understand that a food truck is a cash flow machine, not a wealth machine. Cash flow pays salaries. Cash flow buys inventory. Cash flow keeps the lights on, but wealth is built by owning appreciating assets. Many successful operators eventually purchase a commissary kitchen and rent space to other trucks. Others invest in commercial property where they permanently park their fleet. Some open brick-and-mortar restaurants using the loyal customer base they built through the truck. Others expand into packaged sauces, frozen products, franchising, or licensing. In each case, the truck becomes the starting point, not the finish line. That's a pattern you'll see across countless industries. The operating business creates cash. That cash acquires assets. Those assets generate more cash. Over decades, the cycle compounds. The entrepreneurs who understand this stop measuring success by how many customers they serve each day. Instead, they measure success by how many assets continue generating income while they sleep. Owning a food truck is often portrayed as the ultimate entrepreneurial dream. Freedom, creativity, mobility, the ability to be your own boss, and to some extent that dream is real. Food trucks offer one of the lowest barriers to entry in the restaurant industry. They allow talented chefs to build brands without investing millions of dollars in a traditional restaurant. They can become thriving businesses. They can launch careers.